Hey, everybody. It's Chef Evelyn here, CEO and founder of Gourmet Grad School. And I'm excited to do this live today because I want to talk about 10 signs that you need a business checkup for your culinary business. And hello. So the reason why I wanted to do this live is because I was having a conversation with some fellow entrepreneurs the other day, and I was telling them how I feel like there's a lot of business malpractice going on, and I'm going to explain what I mean. But you know how sometimes, like, let's say you're having a headache, or you think you might be having sinuses or migraines or something like that. How you doing? And is it tour bus chef? Okay, I love that. Tell me your real name so I can call you by your real name. I would love to call you by your real name. But I was having this conversation with some other entrepreneurs, and I was telling them that I do diagnostic calls with potential clients. And what I mean by that is, a lot of people are out here giving out blind advice to people. You got random business coaches. Hey, Felicia, is it Felicia or Felicia? Because I know there's a difference, all right? Felicia, the first one, or Felicia. And that's my god sister's name. Anyway, so I was talking to them about how, like, there's so much like business advice, that is just kind of spread as like universal truth. And I was like, it's kind of like business malpractice. And I'll talk about that later this week. Okay, it's Felicia. Okay, good. But I want to just get into like 10 signs that you need a business checkup, because a lot of times we're experiencing things in our chef business and we're not really sure like what's going on. And it's like, sometimes you need someone to kind of analyze what you have going on, who kind of recognizes the symptoms and can tell you what you need to do to get out of the certain situation you're in. So I actually have notes here. Okay. So I didn't come to play. So if you're watching live or if you end up catching the replay, you're going to want to get into this. So the first sign that you need a business checkup is that you feel like you have outgrown your current business systems. So I will say this, a lot of times, depending on where you are in your culinary business, when you start out, you kind of are like duct taping things together, right? You've got your payment processor over here. You've got, the way you bring on clients over there, right? You've got all these different systems, and you're at a place where that doesn't really work for you anymore. Or you might even be in a place where you're like, I don't even have any systems. Like, like what systems are you talking about, right? And a lot of times we're experiencing, like, we feel like we've outgrown our systems, but we don't know what the new systems need to be, right? So if you feel like, okay, you're working in your business and you're getting clients and the business is growing, but you feel like maybe you've outgrown the systems that you currently have, or the way you've been doing things is not as easy anymore, right? It feels like it's a little bit more challenging, things like that. That's a sign that you might need to do a business checkup. And let me say this. I definitely want to clarify before I get into the next 9 what I mean by a business checkup. I think I started this, but then I got distracted. So let me backtrack a little bit. Think about when you are experiencing some kind of symptom in your body, right? And, you're having a headache, but you're like, I don't get headaches. Is this a migraine? Is it something else? Oftentimes you will make an appointment with a doctor to go in. They're going to ask you about your medical history. They're going to ask you about what's been going on in your life recently. They're going to run tests. They may even draw blood. They're going to take your vitals. They're going to ask you about stress and diet and exercise and all these things, right? Because they're gathering data to properly diagnose what you have going on. What I see happening a lot when it comes to getting advice for culinary entrepreneurs, for chefs like us, is that there's a lot of people who want to give advice, without doing the proper like information gathering on your business, and 2, who are not well versed enough in what you do, the culinary field, to give proper advice. It's kind of like, if I'm having issues with my head, I don't want to go to, I don't want to go to a podiatrist, right? I want to go to a brain doctor, okay, or ear, nose, and throat specialist. So that's what I mean by a checkup, right? Okay. So now that we've got that out of the way, let's get into the second thing, second sign that you may need a checkup for your business. So the second thing is you feel like everything you do lives in your head, right? So maybe let's say you're somebody that does dinner parties, for example, or maybe you do cooking classes or something like that. And, or maybe even catering, right? And it's like, you're getting to a point where you're going to need additional people, but everything lives in your head. And you know that in order to have people help you, to have help, you're going to have to get the things out of your head and onto paper, into an electronic document or something like that. But you don't even know where to start on how to get that done, right? Like, you need some systems, you need some processes, you need some standard operating procedures, you need these things, but you're like, I don't even know which things I need to be documenting. I don't know how to get it out of my brain. I don't know how to store it. I don't know how to send it out to the people that I potentially want to work with. And you can feel that everything is in your head. Like, you're keeping track of all your client stuff. Maybe you've got some email threads going back and forth. Maybe you've got a little pen and paper notebook. And I always tell my clients 6 to 7 figure businesses are not made in paper notebooks. Okay. They may start that way, but they definitely transition to something a little bit more robust. So if you feel like you've been keeping everything in your head, that is a sign that you need a culinary business checkup. Okay. The third thing, and I know this is going to sound strange, particularly because of what we do for a living, but I will say that you have reached a point where you want to spend less time in the kitchen. And, typically when people hear that, they're like, but we cook. That's what we do. We spend time in the kitchen. But here's the thing. That you can't spend all of your time in the kitchen and run and grow your business at the same time. And so that you need to get out of the kitchen, but you just haven't figured out how to get out of the kitchen and spend less time in the kitchen so you can work on your business to get it to grow, to get it to expand. And B, you're not even sure what exactly you should be working on, even if you did have the time to be outside of the kitchen, right? So a lot of times people say, like, I'm in the kitchen all the time, I'm cooking all the time, and that's great, I'm getting clients. But it's like, I know that they have goals where they want to go, where they want to move their business. And it's like, they know they need to spend less time in the kitchen, but it's like a hamster wheel. It's like, first of all, what do I need to be doing outside of the kitchen to grow the business? And if I'm not in the kitchen, who's going to be in the business? Which goes back to symptom number 2, right? So if you resonate with the fact that it's like, yeah, you've been thinking I need to spend less time in the kitchen, then you need to do a culinary business checkup. Okay. Let's go on to number 4. Okay. Number 4. And this is, are you ready for this? You want to do less manual work. Okay. So yes, you want to spend less time in the kitchen, but you also want to do less manual work. Okay. Because here's the thing, there are some things in your business that aren't the best use of your time. There's probably an app for that. There's probably some automation for that, some tools for that, but you don't even know which part of your business processes make sense to be automated. And here's the thing, this goes back to point number 2, which is everything being in your head. If everything is being in your head and it's not documented, you can't even automate it, because you got to document it before you can automate it, right? And so you're doing all this manual work. You're manually sending contracts, right? You're manually sending invoices. You're manually following up with people. You're manually, you're still custom quoting menus, right? You're still doing everything back and forth in an email exchange. And you're just like, and some of y'all are doing this before you're even paid, okay? Which is unacceptable, right? You're doing all this work and you haven't even gotten any money yet. Why are you doing all this work and the people haven't paid you yet? Okay. Don't do that, right? Let people pay you first and then you start the work process. Exactly, Felicia. It's like sometimes people are doing all of these menu revisions and back and forth and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, this person hasn't even signed a contract to say, or accepted a proposal to say that they are going to move forward. And I've seen it happen too many times with too many chefs that they do all this and then the person goes, never mind, I was just collecting information. Excuse me, what? You were just doing what? Okay. So, so you want to do less manual work, but again, you're on this hamster wheel trying to figure out okay, which comes first? Do I get the stuff out of my head And if I want to do less manual work, what does that even need to look like? Yes. What does that even need to look like? How does that all fit together? What software should I be using? All of these things, right? So let's get into number 5. And this the biggest one? This is one of the biggest ones, right? And I will say that most of my clients that I work with, this is the thing that makes them go, yep, I'm ready to move forward. And they're tired of trial and error. Whether it's they're tired of trial and error when it comes to their pricing, whether it's they're tired of trial and error when it comes to their menus, whether they're tired of trial and error when it comes to their marketing, when it comes to their packages, their services, how to get new clients, how to get repeat clients, how to raise their prices. They're tired of the guessing game. Like, they're in a point in their business where they're like, you know what? I'd rather just invest and somebody tell me what to do than for me to spend more umpteen hours on YouTube, on social media, trying to find the answer and then trying to see if it'll work and then spending all that time to see if it'll work versus being in the community with people, that are doing what I'm doing, have been ahead of me, and having somebody that's walked this path before can just be like, girl, don't do that, do this, and it'll go like this, right? So if you are at a point where you're like, you're tired of the trial and error in your business, you're tired of the guessing game, you're tired of trying to figure it out. Hey, Charlene, you're tired of trying to figure it out. I hope you got my email, by the way, this morning about the intensive and how the dates were mixed up. So I hope you got that email. But yeah, if you're at a point where you're like, yeah, I'm tired of trying to figure it out. Okay, good. I didn't hear back, so I was like, I hope she got the email. So I'm so glad. But I'm excited to see you tomorrow in the intensive, y'all. For those of you who don't know, I'm hosting a 3-day intensive starting tomorrow called the High-End Culinary Brand Intensive. That's not what we're talking about today. We're talking about 10 signs you need a culinary brand checkup. But we are going to be doing a audit on day 3. So all the stuff that I'm talking about, we're going to be doing an audit on day 3. Okay, so let me keep going. That was number 5. Let me do a quick recap of the first 5, and then we'll get into the next 5. So the first sign that you need a culinary business checkup is that you have outgrown your current system, your current way of doing things, or you don't have systems at all, right? And you're just like, okay, what I was doing before was cool, but now that my business has grown some, it has expanded, what I was doing is not working, right? It's not smooth, it's not enjoyable, it's not easy. I need something different, but you're not exactly sure what that needs to look like, right? The second thing is, you know that everything can't live in your head, right? You got the recipes in your head, you got the pricing in your head, you've got who you need to follow up back with, who submitted an inquiry in your head, you've got the menus in your head. I mean, maybe most times, most chefs don't have the menus in your head, right? But you don't even have like the recipes for execution, right? Which, and when you don't, I know that your food cost is off. Anyway, I'm gonna get back into that. Number 3 is you're at a point where you know you want to spend less time in the kitchen, which may sound contradictory to what we do, but it's kind of like, you know, there are things that you need to be working on to grow the business, to expand the business, to hit your next layer of goals, your next level of goals. And it's like, but you feel like you're spending all your time in the kitchen, right? And so you're like, listen, I got to figure out a way to get out of here to work on this stuff that's gonna move me forward. And you're like, it's a hamster wheel. If I'm not in the kitchen, who's gonna be in the kitchen? But if I'm not working on the business, who's gonna work on the business while I'm working in the business, right? And it's like, you need to know, like, how do I get out of that so that I can move things forward? That's the other sign that you need a culinary business checkup. Number 4, you want to do less manual work, okay? This goes back to, you want to spend less time in the kitchen. This goes back to, you have all these things in your head. Like I was saying earlier, everything is manual. People send you an inquiry, you're going back and forth manually via email. You're manually sending invoices. You're manually sending menus. You're manually doing revisions. You're manually scheduling the cooking class or whatever it is that you're doing. Everything is manual. And you're just kind of like, there's got to be an app for that. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's got to be a better way to do this, okay? And you're trying to figure out what that is, right? So you can get some of your time back, okay? Because you love what you do, but it's like creeping on the come up of burnout, okay? Number 5, and I was saying that this is probably I don't know if it's the biggest one out of the 10, but this is one of the bigger ones. This is definitely in the top 3. And my clients say this all the time. This is the breaking point for most of them, and how we came to be together is they got tired of the trial and error. They got tired of trying to see what other chefs are doing, trying to guess, looking at other chefs' websites, trying to use their pricing, trying to figure out what their pricing should be based on somebody else who kind of looks like they sort of kind of do what you do, but appear to be more successful. Like, they are tired of trying the guessing game. They're tired of spending hours on YouTube and Google trying to figure it out, is it going to work? Is it not working? They're like, listen, I just want somebody to tell me what to do so that I can go do it and correct from there. Like, I want to be in a community with other people who are also doing what I'm doing. And so I can just ask them, right? And it not be the blind leading the blind, because there are communities where it's like, people are giving each other advice, but it's like the blind leading the blind. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Okay, that's the recap. Let's get into number 6. And before I get to number 6, for those of you who may have come in a little bit later, when I say a culinary business checkup, I'm talking about very similar to like taking your car into a mechanic. It's like, your car is doing something funny. It's not running the way it's supposed to run, but you don't know what's wrong with it. And so it's like, I need to take it into a mechanic for them to run a diagnostic on it, for them to get up under the hood, see what's going on. Is there a recall? Use their years of experience and expertise to kind of tell you, hey, listen, this is broken. This is on the edge of breaking. This one needs to be fixed. And then you can figure out what you need to do from there. Okay. Number 6. And let me know, is this helpful? Like, are y'all resonating with any of these? Or the first 5? Let me know in the comments, yay or nay. Even if you're watching the replay, let me know in the comments if you're resonating with any of these. Let's get into number 6, right? Okay, this is how you know you need to check up. You know that if you were more organized in your business, you would be more profitable. Okay, Felicia says it's very helpful. Okay, good. Charlene says it's very helpful. So, if you were more organized in your business, you would be more profitable. One, there's this thing called decision fatigue, right? And decision fatigue is basically when you're like having to make decisions over and over and over and over and over again, right? And it's like you're doing things on repeat. When you're looking for something, or you're trying to follow up with a client, or you're trying to do this, you've got to sort through your email inbox, or you've got to sort through all the downloads that you've saved, or you got to sort through all your notebooks that have all your ideas and your planners and all of this, right? And you're just like, listen, I've got to be more organized. And if you notice, there's a theme here, right? There's like organization, manual, hey, delicious eats. I don't know what the first part of that says. Anyway, welcome. Let me know your name. I'd love to call you by your first name in the comments, right? So that being more organized will make you actually more profitable, not just make you feel better in your business, but will make you more profitable, right? Because that the less time you spent trying to find things, trying to look for things, trying to send out things, all that kind of stuff. Again, you could be spending that time on money-making activities, right? You're like, listen, and you would be less stressed, right? You wouldn't feel overwhelmed. Okay. So that's number 6, right? Like, if you were more organized, okay, you would be more profitable. But the thing is, you're like, organized how? Organized in what way? What to use? What order should I do this in? Right? So think about that. Okay. Ooh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Number 7. Okay. Hello, everybody. So number 7. Ooh, listen. This is the one right here. And I just, I want you to hold on to your edges. Okay. I want you to just put a little coconut oil, whatever kind of oil you got in the kitchen. If you're measing while you're listening to this, put this on your edges, because you're going to need it. Number 7, this is the quintessential sign that you need a culinary business checkup, is you feel like you've been pretending to be in business. Let me say that again. You feel like you've been pretending to be in business. Yes. Do you cook and people pay you? Yes. But do you feel like you're actually a business owner? Maybe not, right? friends and family who don't really know the inner workings of entrepreneurship, when they ask you how it's going, you're like, it's going great. Right? Like, I mean, like you're getting clients. That's not an issue. But it's like, do you feel like a business though? Or do you feel like you have a full-time side hustle? That's usually a telltale sign that you need a culinary business checkup, because it's kind of like, what's the difference? What's the transition? How do I go from feeling like I have a full-time side hustle to feeling like a bona fide business owner? And yes, you've gotten your business license and your DBA and your LLC, but you still don't, and you've got your business bank account and all that kind of stuff, and you still don't feel like you're really in business. You feel like you've been pretending. Let me know. Y'all might not want to put that one in the chat, but let me know if I'm walking up your street. Okay, because I know that happens a lot. I remember the days when I didn't feel like I was really in business. I felt like I was making money. It definitely felt like a hustle, but it did not feel like a business. Okay. The next one, same thing. You also don't feel like a business owner. I will say this. There is a difference. Yes, Charlene. Okay. It's so true. Okay, listen, y'all feel me. There is a difference between being self-employed and being an entrepreneur. I want to say this again. There's a difference between being self-employed and being an entrepreneur. Most chefs that I come across are self-employed, right? If they stop working, the money stops. Okay? If they stop working, the money stops. If they get sick, they don't get paid. And I want to give y'all this example, particularly if you're new to Gourmet Grad School. I know we've had a lot of new people come in over the past couple of days. I remember I was working for a catering company years ago, like when I was fresh out of culinary school. And the owner was significantly older than me, and he was wanting to retire. And I remember him being really nervous because he said, like, he did, like, I'm going to say small batch catering, like corporations, lunches, things like that, small weddings, things like that, right? But he had a successful business, right? And he had me and a couple other people. And I remember him talking about, like, he wanted to take time off, but he knew if he took time off, that the money would also take time off. And that he was thinking about retiring, but he was like, outside of selling my business and selling my recipes, my equipment, and my contracts, he was like, I don't know what else to do. Right? And that's because he has spent his whole career or his whole time when he was in business running it like a full-time side hustle, not like a business owner. He never figured out how the business could run without him or other ways to bring in income outside of him being in the kitchen. Right? And I remember he said to me, he was like, well, Evelyn, would you like to buy the business? Because he knew that I, was a career changer. So I wasn't like 18 years old at the time. I was much older. Like I said, I had already had a career in engineering before that. So he was like, okay, this is somebody who clearly, already kind of has their foot in life and blah, blah, blah. Uh-oh, it said I had a poor connection. So let me know if y'all can still hear me. I remember thinking though, I remember saying to myself, like, if you're stuck at your age, if I play the movie, I also will be stuck when I get to that age. And I don't want to be stuck. Okay, good. Y'all can still hear me. Okay, great. I've never seen the live do that. It was like, girl, you got a poor connection. I think it's because I'm not on Wi-Fi. Okay, good. So I was like, well, if he's stuck now and I pick up what he's doing, then I'm going to be in the same position when I hit that season of life. And I knew that's not what I wanted to do. And I knew I had to figure out how to be a business owner and not a chef for hire. And he was a chef for hire. And while he was successful at it, right, he didn't play the movie long term, which a lot of chefs don't, because they're just, I'm cooking, I'm getting clients. I'm doing cooking class, I'm getting clients. I'm catering, I'm getting clients. I'm meal prepping or being a person chef, I'm getting clients, right? Right. Even if you're creating content like under a food blog, you're getting clients, or you're hosting brunches and pop-ups, you're getting clients, or you have a food truck or whatever it is that you're doing. It's like, but if you play that movie out, do you want to be doing this when you're 60, 65? Probably not, right? So number 8 was you don't feel like a business owner. Okay. I know I kind of went off on a tangent on that one. Let's go to number 9. You want to eliminate the guessing game. So Here's what I know to be true about most culinary entrepreneurs that follow this page, that follow me, that follow my YouTube channel. You have a lot of ideas. Let me know in the chat. You've got a lot of ideas. You've got these big goals. Let me know if I'm talking to you. You've got these big goals. You've got all these ideas. And what you're doing right now is a small fraction, is a very, very small fraction of what you truly desire to be doing, right? And you're like, I have this big vision in my head. I haven't really necessarily seen anybody do it. And this is what I want to do, but I'm not quite sure how to bring it to life. And you're tired of guessing. Vision board goals. Listen, Felicia, okay? Right? And you're tired of guessing, like, how can I do this? What would that look like? And you feel like you have to wait. Okay, exactly. You feel like you have to wait till some mythical time in the future when you're ready, right? Or until you see somebody do it first, or until somebody, you can go and kind of mimic what they're doing. And the years have been passing by. And if I had to guess, whether you're somebody that's watching live right now or you're watching the replay, you've got things either on past vision boards or in old notebooks from 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 5 years ago, 9 years ago, 10 years ago, of stuff that you keep saying, I want to get to that, but you've been playing that guessing game. Can I do it? Would people really buy that? Can I really charge that much? Is this really a thing? I don't know how to put this together. What could it look like? What are the steps? What are the order? What do I need to know? I don't have the audience. How do I build an audience? How do I market this thing? Like you have all these questions, and they've just been sitting and you've just been pondering over it in your notebook. And so what has happened to a lot of chefs is they do what I call dream adjacent. They're doing something in their culinary business right now, and you may not necessarily hate it. It's fine, but it's not really what you want to be doing. Right? It's close. You think this is the closest you can get to the thing that you really want to do because this is all that you've seen. I remember I had a client, and when she came to me, listen, Felicia, am I talking to you? Okay. Listen, you might need to go ahead and get up in this intensive tomorrow. If not, you can schedule a diagnostic call, right? That's a one-on-one call with me where we flush all this out and you leave with a prescription on what you need to do. Okay, but we're not talking about that right now. We're talking about these things. I remember I had a client, when she came to me, she was a food blogger. Okay. And yes. And she was a kind of what I would consider like a mommy food blogger. And she was making, recipes about, quick weeknight meals for kids and all this kind of stuff or whatever. And so I remember when we had our diagnostic call, I asked her, I was like, is this what you've always wanted to do? And she was like, no. She was like, I have kids, but this is not how I cook for kids. She was like, I'm the kind of mom that I'll start something 4 hours in advance because I want it to be something extra and over the top. She was like, I'm not the mom looking for quick, cheap weeknight meals. She was like, that's just not how I cook, right? And she was like, I also am the person, hey, Nadia. She was like, I'm also the person who, likes expensive cheeses and whiskey, right? And I was like, so why are you food blogging or talking about these recipes if this is not what you want to do? Well, come to find out, what she was really passionate about was food photography and food writing because she had a background in journalism. And this is what I mean about being adjacent to what you really want to do. She knew that she loved taking pictures of food, that she loved very interesting things. She knew she loved writing about food. And so in her mind, okay, because she hadn't had a checkup, she thought the only way to do that is to be a food blogger. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. And what we realized is that she was miserable, even though she was doing something adjacent to what she really wanted to do. But she was tired of the guessing game, so she just settled for what she thought was available, right? And she had invested so much time and so much money and all this kind of stuff on the wrong things because she never took the time out to get assessed and be like, what do you really desire to do? Because if you're going to be doing this for the next 10, 15, 20 years of your life, you better make sure you're doing what you want to do. I'm always surprised when I hear people go, oh, I'm going to do this and build this. And when I hit a certain point, then I'm going to go do this. And it's like, love. It's going to take the same amount of effort. It's going to take the same amount of work. It's going to take the same amount of energy. Why would you go and build a brand and a business on something that you kind of sort of don't really want to do, but it's close enough, and not invest the time and energy to figure out what it is that you actually want to do and then just build that, right? Because they're both going to be learning as you go. They're both going to be, learn some of it learning on the job. There's both going to be, you're still going to have to market it and promote it and sell it and price it and put all the systems in place that we talked about in the earlier things. Why are you doing something that's adjacent to that, right? So that's what number was that? That was number 9. Hello. What is it? I'm Kitchen TX. Tell me your real name. I like to call y'all by your real name, okay? So let's get into number 10, and then I'll do a recap, right? So number 10, here we go. Are you ready? Do you have your seatbelt strapped on? Are you sitting down? Are you holding a sharp object? Because I think this one might ruffle your feathers a little bit, okay? And I saved it for last, all right? Because I knew that I know that this is a big one. And I know that, this might be a little sensitive. So when I say this, I'm not attacking, right? This is me helping you realize, hey, these are symptoms that you need a culinary business checkup. It's kind of like when they tell people, these are the symptoms of a heart attack, right? And you need to call 911. These are the symptoms that you need a culinary business check in. And we're going to talk about what that is again in a second. So number 10 is you don't feel super confident in your business. Let me explain what I mean by you don't feel super confident in your business. This is not an issue about you not feeling confident about your food. That is not an issue. With most chefs, that's never an issue. You know you can cook. That is not an issue, right? You know your food is amazing. That's not an issue. What you feel less confident about is your business acumen. Do I know how to consistently get new clients? Do I know how to strategically market my business? Do I know how to put systems in place? Can I really hit the goals that I have set for myself? Do I really know how to grow this thing, right? Do I know what the next step is? Am I spending my days twiddling my thumbs confused about what I should be working on because I don't know what I should be working on? All I know is I've got passion, I've got the ability to cook amazing food, and the desire to have a business, right? Listen, Nettie said, the Lord led me to this live. Oh my God, this hit home. Listen. And let me tell you something. I'm speaking from experience. Number one, I've lived all 10 of these things, and my clients have lived most of these things, right? So let me tell you, for those of you who are new to the page, who are new to Gourmet Grad School, I do not teach about things that I have not personally conquered myself, or I've helped my clients conquer. There's not going to be no hypotheticals over here, right? Because hypotheticals help no one. I will always talk to you from either firsthand experience or things that my clients had experienced. And I saved this one last because I knew, right? Because let me say this. I want to say this. And if you're new to me, you may not have heard me say this before, but if you've been around for a while, if you watch the YouTube channel, I want to say this. Oh, I don't want to make you cry. No. I mean, listen, I think crying is cleansing for the soul. Cry if you need to, but I want you to be encouraged, okay? Because I feel like what I'm about to say will be encouraging to you, because what I want y'all to know for these 10 is that you don't have to stay this way, right? When it comes to not feeling confident about your business, yes, being confident about your food, being confident about your cooking and culinary abilities, you've got it. I want to say this. Some of you went to culinary school, some of you are self-taught, right? That's irrelevant, okay? What I want to say is this. When it comes to being a culinary entrepreneur, there are two skills that you need. 2 skills. One, you need the skill and talent of cooking. Whether you have natural talent, or you went to school, or you apprentice, or you're self-taught, you have developed that skill, right, over time. And practice has made perfect. You may have taken a certificate course. You may have apprentice. You maybe worked in restaurants in a previous career. Whatever the case may be, you know that you know the fundamentals of cooking. What happens when we move into entrepreneurship is nobody tells us that not only do we need to be good at the thing our business is, that's the first skill, but the second skill that we need to learn is the skill of being a business owner and being in business, the skill of entrepreneurship, right? There's just like there's a curriculum in culinary schools to teach you how to to teach you how to make stocks and mother sauces and world cuisine and meat fabrication and all this kind of stuff, right? That we're taught in culinary schools if you went, or how to move about a kitchen and the language and the dialogue and the culture that comes along with being in a traditional kitchen. We know those things, right? And we've learned those things and we've mastered those things. What no one has ever taught us is the business of being in business. What does customer service look like besides just doing a good job? What is the difference between customer service and client experience? What SOPs do I need to have in place? What policies need to be in my contract? Let me tell you, my clients who are in my year-long program, there's I have a module on this, but there's a subset in the module. And this one particular section, I talk about the 38 different policies that you need to have in your contracts. 38. Most chefs aren't even using contracts, right? We don't know. So, and here's the thing. I don't want you to feel bad. You don't know what you don't know, right? But you can learn, right? You can learn SOPs. You can learn systems. You can learn contracts and agreements. You can learn marketing. You can learn client experience. You can learn brand expression. You can learn brand reputation management and brand imagery, right? You can learn product development and service development, right? You can learn how to go from being a chef from hire to a CEO. You can learn those things, right? Listen, and I appreciate y'all for being here because I knew number 10 might be a little, right? Hi, Olivia. Welcome to the broadcast. You're just in time. I'm about to do a recap here in a second of the 10 signs. But let me say this. I don't want y'all to beat yourself up about any of these 10 things. What I want you to know is that's why I say you need a checkup. Let's say, for example, and I used this example earlier, let's say you're having a headache, right? And you've taken Tylenol and Aleve and you drank water and you took a nap and you got some sunlight and you went for a jog, and for whatever reason you cannot shake this headache and you're like, I don't know what's wrong, and you have MD'd yourself to death, okay? And at this point you think you got cancer and you're dying, right? Which is not the case. Stop with the WebMD, right? And it's like, the reality is, people are going to say you need to consult your doctor because the doctor knows so much more about the human anatomy, and the doctor is going to ask you about previous medical history. They're going to ask you about your family medical history. They're going to ask you about your diet, your exercise. They're going to ask you about stress in your life, and they're going to run tests on you, right? Because they want to see everything that's going on so they can give you an accurate diagnosis. And come to find out, your headache is because you got a sinus infection. You know what I'm saying? And then they can give you a prescription on this is what you need to do to get rid of the sinus infection. But what happens, you need a checkup, retreat, and detox and vacation. Felicia. Listen, I feel you. I be like that way sometimes. And I will say this, you need the same thing in your business. But I will say this, one of the reasons why I started Gourmet Grad School is because there was not a place for chefs to go get a checkup. There's a lot of general business coaches out there. There's a lot of social media business coaches out there, and they don't know the food world, right? Like, yes, some things are universal to business, but there are some things that are very specific. And let me tell you, there's nothing better than going to see a doctor who has experienced what you've experienced, right? And so they can tell you like, oh, I've taken this medicine before. You're going to have these side effects. Let me tell you what I did to mitigate these side effects or whatever. Or you need to have this surgery. I've had this surgery before, or I've done this surgery 850 times, and they know how to tell you how to mitigate it, right? And it's like, hey, is it Renata? Hello. So I want to open this up for Q&A, right? I want to open it for Q&A. You can either put your questions in the comments, or you can do a question box. But I want to do a recap for those of you that just came in on talking about the 10 signs you need a culinary checkup. And that way, while you're getting your questions together, and I want to say this, if you're someone and you're like, I know that I need a checkup, right? You know, whether, like I said, like taking your car to the mechanic and trying to figure out why it's making that rattling noise and you just bought it, right? And you're like, maybe I need an oil change. And they're like, nope, you need a whole new engine block, right? Or vice versa, right? You're so concerned that you need a whole new transmission. And they're like, nope, you just got something, there's a bug and a leaf stuck in there. And you just need to pull it out. Sometimes there's just relief in knowing, A, this is what's going on, and B, this is what I can do to fix it. And then it's up to you to decide if you're going to take the necessary steps from the prescription or from the diagnostic from the mechanic and make those choices. So I will say this. If you're somebody that you're like, you want to check up, you got two options. One, I'm doing a 3-day intensive starting tomorrow, right? And on day 3, we're going to go through every area of your business and we're going to do an audit, and you're going to leave and know where the holes are so you can know where to start working, right? We're going to do it together in a group. Or if you're like, Evelyn, nope, I'd rather talk straight to you. I want to have a whole hour. I want you personally to be looking at my websites, my social media, all that kind of stuff, and assess me directly. That's fine, right? Let me know which one you want to do. So let's do a recap because I want to take your questions. So these are the 10 signs for those of you who missed some of them and are just now joining us. So welcome. And if you have questions about the diagnostic call that I do, and it's literally called a diagnostic call, or if you have questions about the 3-day intensive that starts tomorrow, and it goes Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, you can let me know in the comments below, even if you're watching the replay. Okay, so number 1, you have outgrown your current systems or you have no systems in your business. And so what was working before isn't working so smoothly now, right? That's a sign that you need a business checkup. And I go into more detail if you want to catch this from the beginning, right? Number 2 is that everything can't live inside of your brain, right? Because that's been exhausting, right? Your recipes inside your brain. How you bring on clients is inside your brain. How you run things, how you cook things. Everything that you do in your business is living inside your brain. And you're like, that's not sustainable. You're getting to a point, or you've already gotten to a point where that's not sustainable. Number 3, you want to spend less time in the kitchen. And it's not that you don't love what you do, but it's like you want time to work on your business and not always in business. Felicia says, please send me the information for the 3-day intensive. So what I'm going to do, Felicia, because I'm still on live right now, I'm going to put the link to it in the chat. It's High-End Culinary. Yes, I'm spelling this out while I'm saying it because I want to make sure I type it correctly. It's highendculinarybrand.com. And the link is in my bio as well. But if you go to this link, highendculinarybrand.com, right? We can spend the next 3 days together really deep diving your business, right? So what, and also if you just want to send me a DM when we get off the live, I can send you the link right in there. But like I said, it's in the, if you click the link in my bio on this page or go straight to that website, you can register for the intensive. And today is the last day to register. Okay. So I said, number 1, better systems. You've outgrown your current systems or you don't have any systems. Number 2, everything can't live in your head. Yes, I had notes for y'all because I wanted to become prepared. Number 3, you want to spend less time in your kitchen because you want to spend time working on your business. You need to work on it for it to grow and be what you want it to be versus always just working in your business. Number 4, you want to do less manual work. Yes. Okay. Awesome. Listen, I hope to see you in there. Okay. I hope to see you in there. Listen, it's going to be good. Okay. And Charlene is on the live. She's already in there. Less manual work, right? So everything you're doing is manual. Clients, everything is like, so now it's like I'm in the kitchen, but then I'm doing all this manual stuff via email, right? And you're over it. Okay. The next one, number 5, was tired of trial and error. You're tired of trying to spy on other chefs and see what they're doing, looking at their prices, looking at their services, trying to figure out how in the heck are they going viral on social media and their food isn't even that amazing. And you're like, what's up with that, right? You're tired of trying to reverse engineer, looking at people's websites and being like, okay, trying to, MacGyver what they're doing. And you're tired of that, right? Like you're tired of spending hours on YouTube or listen to these generic business coaches that are telling you to post on social media 3 times a day. And you're like, that does not work for chefs. Like, we're in the kitchen. I need something more sustainable than that. Yes, listen. Hey, grazing bells, right? Chef Nydia says that part. Okay. Like, and here's the thing. Don't feel bad. We've all done it at some point. I'm telling you, you don't have to do it anymore if you don't want to, right? That was number 5. Number 6 was, being more organized will make you more profitable. But you're like, how do I organize? What do I even need to do to be more organized? How do I even start that process? What does that look like? Where do I store it? How do I do it? All the different things, right? Then we slid into some more that was a little bit more spicy. Okay, we talked about how you're tired of pretending like being in business. People, your friends and family is like, oh my gosh, how's the chef thing going? And you're like, it's going great. And it's not going great, right? Like, you're getting clients, you're making money, like, you're not financially stressed or anything like that. But it's like, it just feels like everything's on a whim, right? You feel like, okay, I'm getting referrals, or I'm getting this or whatever. Everything feels like it's happenstance, and you don't really feel like you have control over how your business moves, right? You're kind of waiting around like, okay, I got these clients, but let me tell you a story. Because a lot of times people think when I do these lives, I'm talking to people who are financially struggling. Actually, I'm not, right? I'm definitely not talking to people who are struggling financially, because, they need to focus on that, right? But I'm going to tell you about a chef who I know was making 6 figures working for a celebrity. And they were like, listen, I done got it made. I've got this 6-figure gig. I'm cooking for this family 5 days a week. Life is good, right? Well, the family decided one day, no notice, that they didn't need the chef anymore. Let them go, no notice, effective immediately. And I remember saying, like, did they have any other clients? Did they have any other revenue sources coming in? No. So this chef went from 6 figures in one day to 0 figures. Then I was like, well, where was the contract that says, like, if they wanted to get out of this, like, this is how much lead time they would have to do? Like, what was the dissolving of the agreement clause inside of their contract? They didn't have a contract. And so a lot of times chefs feel like they've got it made because they've landed a celebrity client or a big ticket client or all this kind of stuff or whatever, or they've got a recurring client with a corporation or something like that. And it's like, so they're just like, I don't even have to think about it. All I have to do is cook, right? And then one day they don't, right? Hey, is it Peach Intensity Barbecue? Welcome. Okay, let's keep going with the recap. Number 8 was, you don't feel like a business owner. Okay, and we talked about the difference between what it is to be self-employed and be a chef for hire and running your business like it's a full-time side hustle versus being a culinary entrepreneur of your culinary company, right? To be a CEO of your culinary company, okay? Then we talked about eliminating the guessing game. We talked about you having all these ideas that have been living in notebooks and on napkins and on sticky pads, and they've been there for years, but you don't know what to do. And then you also don't know, like, how do I market my chef business because these other marketing techniques don't work? And how do I position myself? And how do I get high-end clients? And how do I charge premium prices without people being like, oh, you're too expensive? And listen, I know you don't want to be one of those people who are on social media complaining about how people don't understand your prices, right? You've seen those posts. I've seen those posts where, let's say a baker comes on and they're talking about how somebody said that their price for a cake was too expensive. And so then the baker goes on to explain that, well, the cost of eggs are up and flour is this and sugar and my time and this and that. And I went to culinary school and blah, 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 blah. And they think that by explaining themselves, okay, that's going to make people pay them more. I'm here to tell you, people don't care. Okay? People don't care. People don't care that the food cost is up. What you need to know in your culinary business is how to justify having premium prices without having to explain your profit and loss statement. Right? And not having to explain your price breakdown. Right? There is a way to communicate in business how to do that, but you're tired of the guessing game, right? And then the last thing, number 10, and we spent some time on this, 10 signs you need a culinary business checkup, is we talked about you not feeling confident in your business. And that there are 2 skills that you need. Yes, you feel confident as a chef, as a cook. You are amazing at what you do. You are amazing at the kind of cuisine you make. You know that. People tell you your food is amazing. You are the best cook you know, if I had to guess, right? You are the best cook you know. Okay? That is not the issue. What people do not tell entrepreneurs is you have to learn the skill of whatever it is you do. I don't care if you're a candle maker. I don't care if you braid hair. I don't care if you make makeup products. You need to be good at that, right? Exactly, Felicia. And then you need to be good at business and knowing what all that is. And nobody teaches you about the financial part, the marketing part, the customer service, client experience, product development, all these things that I talked about before, right? And so I see that I don't have any questions. I know I did the recap, but I'm going to ask one more time if you have any questions. For those of you who did ask about the 3-day intensive that starts tomorrow, and it's going to be Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, you can go to highendculinarybrand.com and register. The investment is probably the lowest investment I think I've ever offered for a program, because y'all know I teach high-end culinary brands, and so typically to work with me for a year is a significant investment. But also, if you are someone who, so if you want to do the intensive and you want to kind of be in a group setting, you can go to highendculinarybrand.com. However, if you want to have a one-on-one 1-hour session with me where I diagnose all the things that are happening in your business and you leave with a prescription of here's all the things that you need to do, let me know. You can send me a DM. Yeah, Charlene, I can't wait to see you tomorrow. You can send me a DM and I will send you the information about that. Or you could do both. Okay? Listen, if you're like, yes, I want to do the group setting, and then I also want a private one-on-one time, let me know. I'll tell you how you can do that. But listen, I thank y'all for being here. If you're someone who came in a little bit later, please go back and watch the replay. I think you'll find it super, super valuable. I'm definitely going to share this. And then, for those of you that are joining me in the intensive tomorrow, today is the last day to register. I'll be cutting off registration in a couple of hours so I can just make sure that everybody that wants to enroll is in and we're ready to go. And, I will see you on the page in the next live. You're welcome, Nedia. And listen, in the meantime, if you haven't listened to the private podcast, okay, there's a private podcast. Yes, you're going to watch the replay for sure. Absolutely. You should. And leave comments, because I'll be responding to people who leave comments on the replay. After you rewatch this, y'all, I have a 12 episode private podcast, limited series that's completely complimentary, all about how to build a high-end culinary brand. And I cover some of the things that we talk about here in detail. So if you go to the profile, you'll see it. There's only 9 posts on the page. You'll see it there. Sign up for that and listen to that, because I think it'll really be beneficial to you. So thank y'all so much, and I will see you in the intensive.